Hello, audiophiles of the internet, and welcome once again to Audio 46, your headphone destination. My name is Franco, and we have a very exciting video for you today because we are going to be talking about the top 10 headphone manufacturers based in the United States. These brands make some of our favorite audio products on the market, and while this is an extensive list, it is not going to be an all-encompassing one because, of course, that is impossible. And I'm going to be listing these companies in no particular order, so this is not a ranking video. This is just highlighting 10 companies that I think we need to talk about. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to get into it right now. Let's talk headphones. The first company that we're going to talk about here is Apple. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be immediately upset by this and come after me because Apple is known for doing many other things besides audio, but there is absolutely no mistaking that they have become an audio manufacturer now and are probably going to be so into the future. In recent years, Apple has stopped selling any third-party brand audio gear at their retail stores, and of course they've partnered with Beats by Dr. Dre to make their own products. And while some audiophiles out there will undoubtedly quibble with the popularity of the Apple AirPods, there is no use denying that these are some of the most ubiquitous headphones on the market, taking up about 80% of the market share of true wireless earphones, even though they are most certainly not the best true wireless earphones that exist. And with the addition of new updates, a Pro version, and of course the groundbreaking wireless over-ear headphone they just released, there's every indication that we will be seeing a lot more audio gear from them in the future. So whether you love Apple or you hate them, they are undoubtedly an audio manufacturer, and because they are Apple, they are a big one, and they are going to be a force to be dealt with in the game. The second company that I'm going to mention here is Koss. Now, in terms of audio technology, Koss is a historical giant that became one of the innovators in the industry almost by accident. Founded by John Koss in 1958, his goal was to create a portable high-fidelity phonograph player for vinyl records. When it was designed, the player had jacks in the front so the listeners could use headphones to enjoy privately. The only problem was any of the headphones commercially available just simply weren't compatible. Most headphones at the time that were available were exclusively used for communication purposes, such as with pilots for airplanes. Seeking to solve the problem, one of the engineers at Koss put together two speakers that were connected by a headband, plugged it into that phonograph system, and the first stereo phones were invented, thus kicking off the headphone craze. Koss may not be one of the newest and biggest names in a field that's ever growing, but their legacy is undeniable, and there are still people who absolutely swear by their products. For that reason and their overall legacy, that is why we're going to put Koss on this list. The next company we're going to mention on this list is Campfire Audio. Campfire began as Audio Line Out, a company started by Ken Ball in 2009. They specialized in handmade premium audio cables and quickly made a name for themselves as one of the best small manufacturers in the field of personal audio. ALO eventually grew to include a small team of dedicated craftsmen that became the Campfire Audio that we know today. Known for their top-of-the-line IEMs, each model from Campfire is handmade in Portland, Oregon, and made under the highest standards of innovation and quality. Campfire has a really dedicated base of consumers thanks to their iconic IEM models such as the Solaris and the Andromeda. This past fall, they released 2020 updates of two of their other models, the Dorado and the Vega, which I happen to like a lot and I reviewed on this channel, so you can check that out if you want to see what my thoughts on those were. Next up on the list is Noble Audio. Noble is another company that may not have a gigantic name, but they do also boast a very loyal legion of followers. The man behind the company is John Moulton, the self-proclaimed audio wizard who earned that nickname by making incredible IEMs described by others as magical. John is an audiologist by trade, which means that beyond looking amazing, which their products always do, Noble's products are designed and engineered with Moulton's intimate knowledge of the science of hearing and how that affects the body in mind. All of their models are gorgeous, they have a very funny internet presence which you can check out on their About page, and most importantly, they always provide top-notch sound quality to enhance whatever you're listening to. I happen to really personally like this company. One of their recent models to come out is the Falcon Pro, an update of their wildly popular true wireless headphone that somehow managed to be even better than its predecessor. The soundstage is great, the low end is powerful and articulate, and the mids are really crisp and clear. I also reviewed this pretty recently, so if you want to check out my thoughts on that, then you can see that video on our channel as well. Next up, we have Westone. Westone is another company that plays a giant role in the history of audio technology development. Founded in 1959 in Colorado by two musicians, Westone has the distinct honor of being credited with the invention of the musician's personal in-ear monitor. Throughout the 80s, the company developed such technology as balanced armature drivers and Walkman-style earbuds before creating the first personalized in-ear monitors for rock acts such as Rush and Def Leppard, which is of course now the industry practice for any big-scale touring musician. In a fun bit of history, Westone was also the original manufacturers of Shure's first in-ear monitor units, the E1 and the E5. Nowadays, among other things, Westone makes universal fit IEMs for the general consumer. One of their most reliable models that I happen to like a lot is the W40. This is an extremely sophisticated audiophile-grade earbud utilizing a 4-balanced armature driver setup with 3-way crossover for a crisp and clear flat frequency response. It also has a really low-profile profile and ergonomic shape, which makes it a breeze to wear. Next up on our list, we're going to talk about Empire Ears. This is a company that is one of the more unique around in terms of its ambition to provide audio excellence across a wide spectrum. Family owned and based in Atlanta for all of their 30-year history, they create not only headphones or IEMs, but a wide variety of earpieces that spans a lot of different markets, including medical, consumer, and professional markets. Every product they make is handcrafted and measured against super high standards to ensure their proprietary immersive sound signatures, cutting-edge design, and unrivaled build quality is present in every single unit. Both their X Series and EP Series models are high quality, and are particularly partial to the ESR model, which you can see here. Empire makes a wide variety of products, and you can rest well assured that with any of them, you are in good hands and it's going to be high quality. Next up on our list is Audeze. This company began when a couple of friends started designing headphones in their spare time just for fun. After building a couple prototypes and taking them to some trade shows, they were discovered on the popular forum headfi.org, and the rest is history. Now they are one of the more successful companies working today, thanks in no small part to the popularity of the sound quality derived from their planar magnetic drivers. If you don't know exactly how planar magnetic drivers work or what they are, I have another video on that topic comparing them to electrostatic and traditional dynamic drivers, so be sure to check that one out. Essentially, this kind of driver is very fast and very accurate with very low distortion, so it provides a very clean quality to the sound that is optimal for a lot of audiophiles. One of the more exciting models coming up in the near future from Audeze is the Euclid, a closed-back planar magnetic in-ear monitor that is now available for pre-order. It seems to be very promising, and I'm very excited to try it out whenever we get it in and I get the chance. Next up is 64 Audio. This is one of the younger companies on the list at only 10 years old. 64 Audio, like many of the other companies that we've been talking about, was started by an audio engineer who had been working with producers and musicians professionally for over a decade. After years of working in pro sound settings, the personnel assembled into what eventually became the company was converted to the idea that IEMs were a much better live sound solution than wedges. Furthermore, they thought that a better and more affordable solution must be out there for the general consumer and for the touring musician alike. A few years and many home-based locations later, 64 Audio is partnered with some of the biggest names in music, including Beyonce, John Mayer, Juanes, the Black Eyed Peas, and many, many more. Now, their consumer models are very expensive, but they're also super high quality and some of the best that I have personally tried. Two of my personal favorites include the U18 Czar and the Tia Forte. You can see from the boxes here as well that these are some very aesthetically pleasing IEMs, and the products from 64 Audio always look phenomenal. Rounding out our list of historical American companies, now we come to one of the most iconic brands in the history of audio, period, and that is Shure. Shure was founded by Sidney N. Shure in 1925 as the Shure Radio Company, selling radio part kits several years after commercial radios became available. Since then, the company has become a manufacturer of all things audio and gear at both the consumer and professional level. They've created phonograph cartridges, speakers, mixers, processors, not to mention some of the most iconic microphones ever used by the greatest groups in the history of music. They of course also make headphones, dipping into a little bit of everything ranging from earbuds to IEMs to over-ear headphones. Their latest entries in their Aonic series have been pretty excellent, and I was very high on the Aonic 50 noise-canceling headphone when I reviewed it in the fall. It's got a great look to it, it's really well built, it's very comfortable, and the noise cancellation is pretty fantastic, rivaling a lot of the other models that are on the market in this same area. The sound quality is also great, it's got intuitive controls, and it's overall very convenient. Overall, you cannot go wrong if you're getting basically any product from this brand, as it has stood the test of time and is one of the most trustworthy that is currently selling audio equipment. The final company that I'm going to mention on this list is the last one I'm going to talk about, but certainly not the least, and that is Grado Labs, based right here in New York in the borough of Brooklyn. Grado is one of the hippest and most mysterious brands in the headphone market today, thanks to their longtime emphasis on word of mouth over traditional marketing and their gritty yet elegant aesthetic. While they aren't necessarily a giant, Grado makes some of the most beloved headphones on the market, and their fans almost elevate them to cult status, which, in my opinion, is pretty cool. They're a family-owned business passed down through the generations from founder Joseph Grado to his nephew John Grado, who now currently runs the company with his son John Jr. As I said earlier, they make their headphones right around the corner from us in Brooklyn, New York, and one of our favorite classic models of theirs is the SR80E. The sound features a tight and controlled quality at the upper and lower extremes of the frequency range, and Grado's trademark smooth and natural mids are given ample room to shine. Grado definitely does have a very specific sound that is not for everyone, but if you like certain kinds of music, especially jazz, which is what they're known for, then these are really great. Alright guys, I'm going to stop there today. If you didn't already know some of these brands, I hope the video was educational, and if you love some of these brands, then I hope you enjoyed the shout out. If you have any thoughts on the video, then please leave a comment down below. I love to start a discussion and see what you guys have to say. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another video from our channel, and follow us on Instagram over at Audio46. All right, guys, that's it for today. My name is Franco, once again with Audio46. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.